All right. So welcome. My name is Osset. Got to do the intro. Welcome everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. I already did the mention of everyone, just welcoming everyone. But yes, welcome to today's discussion. We are talking about resetting your third eye projector to ensure clarity and trust in your vision. So today we're talking about vision, but we're also talking about vision paired up or being paired up with your emotions because they go hand in hand, feeling the vision, sensing the vision, and so on. I would like to ask a couple of questions or just to get an idea of how some of you guys feel on where you stand with your trust in your third eye vision or your ability to see with your third eye. So how many people here can say that you are confident within your third eye vision? Do you not know what that means still for you? Of course, we have the generic meanings of what that third eye vision means, but have you tapped into what the third eye vision means to you? So when you think about third eye, what do you think of? What comes to mind for you guys? So I would love to see some responses on that, just to get a feel again of how you perceive this part of yourself. Because there are expectations with third eye, always the expectations on what should be happening with these visions and so on. So yes, how do you feel about your third eye and what is it to you when you think about the vision? And I know there's a little delay in comments here, so I'll just give it a moment. And if not, we can just continue moving on. But was curious to see how you guys feel about what third eye vision means to you. Do you feel that you utilize this part of you, this space, this chakra often on purpose? Well, I do not see any answers here and responses here. So we'll just keep it moving. We'll keep it moving and we'll talk about the third eye and sacral, and again, the relationship between the two. So when I am speaking on the third eye, we all at least know that, as we walk through the chakras in the past, and we've spoken about the third eye. Hold on, there is a response here. So let me go and read that first. Hey, Mariama, for me, my vision is more through sound and sensation, which has been frustrating, but starting to embrace and trust it more. Desiree says not on purpose, not really utilizing the third eye on purpose. Now it's interesting, Mariama, that you're saying that for your vision is more through sound and sensation, which is frustrating. May I ask why it is frustrating to see through your sound and sensation? You're more so of clairsentient, clairaudient. So why is that frustrating for you? Just curious. Because when we're talking about the, hey Selena, when we're talking about the third eye and vision, even when we're talking about sound, sensation, clairsentience, even smells and so on, that all goes into the category of you accessing and utilizing that third eye, actually. The feeling is a part of what runs the projection, if that makes any sense. And it will, if it doesn't, a little bit later as we talk about feeling and vision. I think sometimes we have this expectation that the third eye is supposedly, or that the vision of the third eye is similar to the vision of how we see. So sometimes there's an expectation there. I see with how I'm using these two lenses, which is really not seeing, as we spoke about this in plenty of other videos before, but it's definitely relevant today in today's conversation on how we see. We do not see with our eyes, we see with our brains. So all of the signals of the light are sent through these lenses. So these two eyes that we see are actually working more towards, they're more so, it's more so of intake of light. There's an intake thing. There's a whole thing, light codes and light waves going into the lenses of the eye and transforming that energy into electrical pulse, which stimulates the part of your brain that sees. So we see with our brain, not with our eyes. So when we're talking about third eye, we're talking about just another aspect of the brain that can see, but just more so in an expansive and limitless way, I should say. There is no boundaries to the vision of the third eye. There are boundaries to the vision of these two lenses here that we call eyes, right? Because we're only limited to the information flow that comes into the lens, and then it gets broken down even more so when it gets to that part of your brain that edits out, and we talked about this before, but that edits out certain information that you may not be ready for. So that's how limited this vision is. It's based upon your perspective and how much you're willing to allow yourself to see. So there are, you know, we don't with these two eyes, we don't have full access to the full spectrum of light. Less than 1% is what we are receiving from what is actually, quote unquote, out there, right? So even when we're receiving that less than 1%, in the processing of the brain, it's even breaking that down to even lesser than what it is. And then that's the vision. And the vision comes up with, it utilizes the imagery within your subconscious mind, what has already been collected through memory. Okay, so what is already stored within your memory bank is kind of like it's an automation or automatic vision thing. So sometimes a lot of the time, actually, most of us, if we're not really connecting with the third eye, we're on automatic seeing mode. So your editing center within your brain it's kind of just, you know, it's like someone being at a job that they hate and they're not really excited or passionate about it because nothing's really stimulating or nothing new is coming in to for them to be excited about. So it's just kind of the same old light coding or the same old pulses that are coming in. So it's just kind of like pressing buttons. Like if you had to press these 3 buttons on a job all day, 1, 2, 3, it's kind of like that. So some people see like that. That's an automatic sight mode. But your editor, your inner editor within your brain gets really excited when your perspective or your perception has shifted and expanded, which is usually through the third eye. So when your perception has expanded, that mini editor is like lit up again at the screen within your brain. They're like, okay, there's more content to work with. Now we can start working on new sight and new vision. So I get to play with new coding, right? Because your levels of perception has opened up. So that's how we see. It's really based on how we perceive ourselves, our reality. It's based on what we've already experienced, and it's based on our willingness to expand. It's based on all of those variables on what it is that you see as your world from the outer spectrum. Mariama says, because it seems that I cannot always make a clear distinction of what I'm receiving, it is more difficult to decipher. So Mariama, did you have that expectation? When people are saying that they see visions, Mariama, usually those visions are internal, which still is a form of sensory that still has to be trusted. It's very rare, but of course, there are people out there that can see visions as clear as they see with their 2 lenses. Okay, so there are people out there who have that kind of sight, beyond dimensional sight, with that, if they were to describe that. But a lot of the sensors are thrown in to also contribute to that sight. But most of the time when we're seeing flashes of visions, they feel like images, inner images, imagination. And I think one thing that we're going to talk about more so is imagination. as well, because we have been taught that imagination is fairy tale. We've been taught that imagination is for kids. We've been taught that imagination is something that is can be a waste of time as an adult, right? Just subliminally, not outright, because of course we're always using our imaginations. We have to, if we want to be creative beings, if we want to really truly navigate this thing called life. Imagination is, we depend on our imaginations, but sometimes we forget how powerful our imaginations are. So I always like to say there's no difference between fiction and nonfiction. It's all real. It's all real if you see it as such, because it is your perspective and your it's your reality. So a lot of our realities, parts of our realities that are projected from third eye or imagination, are not necessarily counted in as shared reality, because we have shared reality and then we have our own individual imagination, inner world kind of experience that no one else can really sense. And those are the worlds that actually help create the shared reality anyway. Selena says, I see all dimensions at once. Now, you know, Selena, I can sense what you mean by that when you say that, because I have a similar sight where I'm able to see so many different perspectives and dimensions of one thing if it's shown to me in many different ways. So I can see or sense what that means when you say that. I'm learning how to discern between other realms I see and our reality here. Okay. Many guided meditations are based on vision, imagination, which for me is kind of distracting as my focus shifts towards vision rather than being open to other sensations. Okay. So guided meditations for you are actually distracting. And it all depends, because when we do guided meditations, it's someone else projecting their vision into yours to help you cultivate a vision of your own. Some of you guys don't need that. You know, some of you go right in and you start conjuring up whatever image, and you work from there and you start building from there. Desiree, I think that may be my issue, seeing all dimensions at once. It makes it so hard to stay grounded because of all of the possibilities and perspectives. Yeah, and when you're in that mode, it's you definitely telling yourself to slow down and choose which angle you'd like to see something first, and then build off of that angle. You don't have to necessarily disregard the other dimensional perspectives, but choose one as a foundational perspective. If you want to go to a higher dimension first and build down, I think as we were talking to when we did the panel, and we were talking with Buddha, right, on the panel, and he mentioned one of his ways of dealing or clearing through his chakras is to start from the higher realms or from the crown, and to process that energy and bring it down to solidify it more. For some people like to start at the very bottom of things and work their way up to the top. So choose, right? If you're having issues with that, choose a dimensional perspective and build from that perspective, whether it's building out, building in, building down, building up, and see what story that tells you as you're choosing from a point. Guided meditations are helpful for me. My form of meditation is normally writing or art, because my hands working helps me focus and tap in. Same here, same here. In motion and doing something, there's a lot that definitely comes out. Yeah, so we all see differently. You know, we all see with the third eye differently. But the third eye is most definitely a very important tool for creating your world, creating your life. The projector, just the projector in general, it is a focal point. It's a place that you are able to go to gather all that you are conscious of. If we talk about the subconscious mind is just everything recorded. It's everything. It's all things. The subconscious mind runs automatically. The subconscious mind does not have prejudice. The subconscious mind cannot take a joke. Okay, whatever you say most of the time is what your subconscious will feed back to you in your reality. Okay, so your subconscious mind is just doing the job of making sure that the reality from within, as well as your perception outside of yourself, is intact. The third eye is great for focal point consciousness. When you are gathering the energy from your consciousness itself, your thought, and you're basically gathering it in that space to focus in on it and project outwardly. So the thing is, before we even get to the projector part, before we even project realities on purpose from third eye and all of that, I wanted to talk more so about trust and vision, because trust has a lot to do with everything. Even when we're talking about our spiritual journeys, intuition, our gut feelings, all of that. Trust is like the secret ingredient to getting past all of the barriers that you think you have. Usually the barriers are created because there's a lack of trust. So knowing and not trusting is like wasting, or it's a waste of knowledge, vision, and wisdom. So imagine knowing everything, like you know everything, you just know. But then imagine the frequency of not trusting anything. So to know everything but not trusting anything is too paradoxical to even create something that is tangible, that match up with a want or need or desire that you have, because it's too opposing. You can't know everything and not trust anything and yet expect a smooth, desirable reality to pan out within your experience. So what you're going to get back is your subconscious says, yeah, I know it all, but I don't trust it at all. So therefore, there's going to be realities created that are not trustworthy, period. So you'll just walk around really wise, but paranoid, really wise, but anxious, really wise, but again, not trusting yourself brings upon suffering. So you can be really wise. I know we put wisdom on this pedestal. We do. Being wise is the end all be all with a lot of the journey. But there is wisdom is also the beginning of more learning of self when it comes to refining yourself. So when you come into this, when you're stepping into your wisdom, you're never not going into knowledge of self. And that knowledge comes from that focal point of thought that allows you to travel further into your wisdom. So if you are not traveling further into your wisdom and you're kind of just sitting there, it feels like your wisdom can lie dormant, just like the subconscious mind, and just say, hey, I know I run everything. The systems are running clear, but I'm not participating in it. So your subconscious doesn't participate in life. Your subconscious doesn't really participate. So, and this is why, even when we're talking about masculine and feminine, we can look at the consciousness, the conscious focal point, which is like a laser beam, right? A focal point of thought would be masculine. The subconscious would be feminine, because the consciousness plants seeds into the subconscious realm to therefore create a reality. So they work hand in hand. But the thing is, without one or the other, there's a focal point that doesn't have fertile ground, right? Doesn't have fertile ground to plant seeds. So it's kind of just traveling with no purpose. And on the flip side of that, the subconscious has nothing to really bear fruit from. Therefore, it's just automated and running whatever is there without even participating. So it can be a complete, like it can be something that is not necessarily desirable because no one's planting the desirable seeds. So therefore the subconscious does not have the ability to come in and say, I'm going to plant desirable seeds in my own garden. This is why we have two poles within ourselves, masculine and feminine, because now we have the ability to both be the seeder, right? To plant the seeds within our feminine, and receive the seeds from our inner masculine, whether you're male or female. So bringing these two energies together, the conscious and the subconscious, the masculine and feminine, has it's a big thing, or one of the main things to really put together first before going into third eye work. Because sometimes the third eye can just project what is already there, what has not really been worked on. When you leave a garden untended to, and there's weeds all over the place, right? And there's just things just kind of just growing wild and chaotic, because again, there's no refinement to that. And you go into your third eye chakra and you just want to project what is already there without going in and weeding out like what needs to be released, what needs to be cut down, whatever that is. You're not being the gardener to your mind. So when you're not doing that, whatever projects out is going to be exactly what was just sitting there in the first place anyway. It's just going to be enhanced and accentuated. So when we're talking about third eye projection, we're actually looking at our outer worlds, we're syncing them with our inner worlds, and we're just seeing the correlation between the two. And we're using our imaginations to create, to generate vision, to create. But where does that juice come from? Where does that power come from to even want to have the will to project? Because it takes energy to project something outward from the inside. And in order to truly project it out on purpose, you need that fuel. And that fuel comes from the sacral and solar plexus. So it comes from these areas that are powered up through emotion and through willpower that actually feeds the vision itself. So if your sacral or your solar is blocked off, the projector, you ever see like an actual projector and it's kind of like losing its light? And if whatever screen it's projected on, it's going to affect the results of whatever movie or whatever vision is being projected onto the screen. You won't really see it. It'll be really dim. So that's kind of like how we're looking at the third eye projector, is more so, how bright is your light behind that projector? Is it really strong to where you are literally being able to see and sense and experience the reality that is truly coming from within? Or again, is it dim? So the feeling. So what happens, and you can start from either feeling first or vision first. It all depends on how you gain your senses. So if you are more of a vision person or a mental person before you feel that you are more so an emotional person, what you can do to help unify these parts of yourself is to go in and create a vision that will spark some kind of emotion. If that's where you start first, if you're more so mental, because everyone is different. So you go in because it's nothing for you to really go in because you're mental, right? You're more mental. If you're more mental, go in and you envision something very specific and you generate the feeling. The feeling is the reactor. You're reacting to the vision with your emotion. That's a way to start generating the power from your sacral, from your solar plexus. That will generate something. If it's something that brings you love, joy, or we talked about even in the last in the panel where we did a meditation, and it was more so going in and setting your dials for your dominant emotions and what it is that you would rather feel. So what visions is it? Are you thinking about a loved one? Are you thinking about your purpose, your career? Are you excited about something? Go into detail about it with the vision and allow your sacral and solar to work together to conjure up a feeling that powers that vision even more. Or if you go on the other end, if you're more emotional than mental, then you may be more inspired by your emotions first. So you can go the other way around. You can go more so into your feelings and emotions, and you can conjure up, because if you're just a naturally emotional being first, you can conjure up a feeling out of nowhere. You can just like you can conjure up a thought out of nowhere. So hand in hand, this is why we're working with both of these chakras together. You can conjure up an emotion out of nowhere without vision. If you want to feel something, there's a command, right, where you can allow yourself to feel it. Now you feel that emotion and you allow that emotion, right, to build upon itself in intensity, and therefore using that emotion to inspire a vision. So you can actually start from where you are now and how you're feeling now. Just go in and ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? And I'll ask you guys this question: how are you feeling right now? What is your emotional state right now? If you can describe how you feel in one word or two words, what would those feelings be? And the next question after that would be, can I create a vision or conjure up a vision from these feelings that I'm feeling right now? If the answer is no, then that's when you know you need to switch up the frequency, switch up the emotion, or even go into the mental plane and switch up the vision so that you can change your emotion. So this is how we utilize both of these parts of ourselves, just based upon what we're most dominant with, right? For me, usually, for me personally, it's both. It really is both. But I can conjure up an image and instantly get a feeling. And when the feeling and image match, that's magic. That's what magic is. Period, point blank. It does not have to be overcomplicated. Okay? Working your inner magic is getting that vision and feeling to match, to work with each other. Okay? So doing one without the other is, it's if you're only utilizing your emotional state to create your reality, what comes back at you feedback wise is, it can feel a little chaotic. It can be a chaotic experience because you're not using your focal point to be specific about how you want to distribute these emotions. So another thing that comes with the third eye vision is specificity, like specifying specifying something. So if it's just emotions, it's just like this projector that is not necessarily focused. So you'll get back plenty of feedback, but is it something that you really was looking for? Is it something that you wanted? Or is it just, oh, okay, because I wasn't expecting that, and now my state of being has changed, because this is like, if I would have focused with this emotion, maybe this result would have been a bit more refined. Okay, so that's the difference between the two, is refining the emotion in the vision, refining the emotion in the vision, refining the emotion in the vision. Let me see what's going on here in the comments. Lana, I definitely did have an expectation for me, because every time that I would think of a vision, I would think something like that. So Raven, like TV. Yeah, TV will definitely have you thinking, you're going to have like this thought bubble that pops up that you can watch like a screen and say, oh, that's the vision, right? So with me, I get what feels like random thought, but won't realize it until the actual situation happens afterwards. So now that you know that, you can just pay attention to when that happens, and honor that as a vision, because that is how the visions come through. They come through in thought form, through the image, and usually is followed with emotion. Usually there's a feeling with that vision. Sometimes it, if you're in a more so of a meditative state, it's just vision, right? And you're very calm and there's no emotional attachment to it. So it all depends on what state of being that you're in. Desiree, oh, the boundaries from lack of trust definitely resonates. Especially as a child, seeing things but being told it wasn't real helps create this wall of not trusting what you see. Exactly. It's just, it's just your imagination. You hear that as a child a lot. It's just your imagination. And to say that in a way that is so dismissive, it's imagination that actually renders this whole thing. Imagination is what keeps the world going. Imagination is life. So to say it's just imagination as if something else is more important, that can be a little detrimental to the growth of just human nature. You know, it's just imagination. You're always using your imagination. So yeah, I can definitely see that building the wall and separating imagination. And now only because without imagination on purpose, you're now accepting someone else's imagination. You're living in someone else's world. You're living in someone else's dream and reality. And you're just responding to that. And if that's the way that life flows for you, then cool. You know, you can just ride the wave of what someone else set for you. But if you wanted to go take it a step further and really start gathering that inner magic and creating your reality, you step outside of that box and you go inside and you start really conjuring up your own world, and you allow that projector to shine when you are happy with the syncing of emotion and vision together. So that's it's like a syncing of both. So it's again emotion and thought. And when you're happy with those results of how you feel and what you see, then you project. Okay, because we are doing this consciously projecting. That's what we're talking about today. I literally see the situation happen in my mind's eye. Mm-hmm. Now the thing is, sometimes you don't know what's coming first. So this is when, again, this is a great reset, when we start resetting ourselves in ways of cleansing out old programming. You don't know whether you are the beginner or the initiator of something, or if again you are more so reacting. So when you're having a vision of something, it's ask yourself if you accept that vision. Do you accept that vision, or do you want to go in and edit? Because if the vision has not manifested physically in your reality just yet, you have a moment to go in, just like a Google document, right? You go in and you edit and you change the vision if need be. And this is the power that we have. Now, I know sometimes when we talk about psychics and psychic power and those abilities, especially even when you get a reading from someone, you don't have to accept the suggested result or the reading as truth. You know, a person may tell you that this is going to happen, but you have the ability to say, well, is this what I want to happen? Maybe this is what could happen, but now that I know that this is a possibility, I can go in and I can make some changes so that it won't, or so that something more favorable, if it's not, can come in and replace that. So that's the power that we have. We don't have to accept what is given to us, even when we're having our visions. Sometimes, you know, it's just like, wait a second, what can I do to go in? Because clearly, if you're having the vision before the actual manifestation, clearly there's an opportunity to edit. Clearly there's an opportunity to change if it's something that you want to do. If it's something that you just want to flow with and allow to happen, then just allow it to happen. Look forward to the vision. Getting freaked out from something and seeing something that is not really desirable in your reality, and you see that vision flash, and it has something to do with something that you can be more so in control of. Because when we're talking about other people, that's a whole different thing. When we're talking about things that are happening to us, only we can only quote unquote influence and control what is happening to us in our reality. So if it's something that is not so desirable, you don't have to accept it as truth, or you can accept an aspect of it and immediately retrieve the lesson so that it is not as much as, you know, as intense as it could be had you not. So you can go in, and if something looks like if something is presenting itself as horrific that's about to happen, and you get that vision, you go in that joint and you're just like, okay, well, if this were to happen, how can I prepare myself? What can I set myself up for? How can I be emotionally sound so that I can face this? So that whenever it presents itself, I'm ready. And anytime you are ready for something and you've prepared for something, anything in your life, whether it's good or bad or something desirable or not, anytime you've prepared yourself for anything, it's never as, it's either super enjoyable because you've been able to prepare, or it's the blow is not as intense if it's something that's coming in to disrupt certain energies. So preparation is also another thing that comes with really utilizing your inner vision. Preparation for the vision. Editing, do you need to, do you not? Those types of things. So going back to trust though, because trust again is the biggest barrier. Even when you look at the word trust, it has true in it. So trust is true. So you're asking yourself, what do I see as true? Do I not trust my truth? Am I okay with my truth? Is what is happening what I know to be true? So when you know things, as we talked about with wisdom, just the inner knowing, sometimes you'll know things and you won't want them to be true. So therefore you don't trust. So we're talking about true and trust, or truth and trust. Sometimes you'll see things or know things and you know it to be true, so therefore you trust it. So truth and trust go hand in hand when it comes to working with your inner knowing, your intuition, or your inner vision. So one thing, as I stated before, being more specific with the focal point, is asking for proof. Asking for proof in your human. I do this all the time. I'll get a vision, I'll have an experience, and I'll thank my higher self or thank my guides or thank, just in gratitude for that experience. But I do take my time out if I feel that I need to go a step further and ask specifically, can you show me or confirm this for me in my human? Something tangible in language, or in a language that I will best understand. So then what happens is you give that command to yourself, and then something will literally conjure up to literally give you proof of something or confirm something for you. So this, if you use your entire house of self for all of these resources and all of these abilities, you'll get everything. So just when you're receiving the proof, not disregarding it, because it's like throwing something extremely valuable out into the garbage, and it's something that you asked for, right? So if you asked for it and it's shown to you, to see it and to not trust it is like throwing it away. So this is something that and this is where self-sabotage can come in, where you just throw it away because you don't trust it. But it's literally exactly what you asked for, right? So are you able to trust yourself to see it all the way through? And again, with the specifics, ask for help if you need that from your higher being, from that core being, true self of who you are. I need help with seeing myself all the way through to the end, or the beginning, or wherever it is that you are going, whatever the journey is for you. Help me see it through. Allow me to trust myself more so that I can break the barriers of stagnation, wanting to evolve, not wanting to just loop, right? So breaking barriers is breaking loops within yourself. So trust is deep. Trust is really deep. So that's, again, one of the main secret ingredients to visions, because you can have the clearest vision and then you'll come out that vision, and if you just kind of disregard it as if it didn't happen, that's not true. Like, I saw it and I even got my proof for it, but that's not what it is. And you do that, that's very arrogant to the process of creation. So therefore the process of creation is just like, we just can't catch a break with you. Like, we're just showing you exactly what it is that you want to see, and you still. So that trust can either be the splinter that you need to take out so that it can like allow something to flourish, or it can actually work in your favor. Right, because nothing is set in stone. You have the ability, you have a fluid reality. Yes. Now, there are markers and points that are very strong in resonance, that what you may call, if there was like a blueprint to your life or to your path, you may call these like destiny points in your time and space, where there are points that are very, very strong, that like more than likely will happen, right? And then there are other points that are not as strong, that are variables and can go either way. But even with that, you know, it's like using those strong points and using that as energy to create the next, you know, create the next path, or whatever that path is for you. So yes, the stones, even when you arrive to a stone, is what I'm saying, Selena. If you arrive to a stone in your life and you're just like, okay, this was kind of written in stone, I see the stone. So what is this stone? How am I going to use this stone, or what was written in stone for me to now create something from the right here and the right now? So those stones are very helpful. They can act as fuel and wisdom. These are like wisdom points as well, to project forward and continuously go on the path as well. I have noticed that my third eye has been opening up lately. I explored its realm, and it took me through so many images and fields of energy. I was so much in awe of how free and limitless I can see with my third eye. I immediately wanted to send that limitless feeling to my solar plexus so that I can put my dreams and aspirations into action and go beyond my own limiting beliefs. That is amazing. That is amazing. So exploring your third eye, yes, Selena, like markers. Exploring your third eye, seeing the images, being in awe of the beauty and the limitless aspect of these visions, and feeling those visions in your solar plexus to put them into action. That is an amazing exercise. Thank you for sharing that, Trip Booker. Sinicia, thank you for sharing that. That is exactly what we're talking about here. It's seeing those visions and focusing on that and feeling it. So that's basically what we were talking about earlier. So that's a perfect example of that. So once you have your fuel going and flow and your projector set, it's kind of like a circle of projecting and creating, right? That happens. So now that you feel, and now that you're focused and you project, now what happens is whatever is projected will feed back. It'll feed back, and sequence of time allows that to happen. So you'll experience things from your image fed back to you. Now, when it's fed back to you and you're experiencing it, it's going back into the fuel pile. You're feeling, because through experiences, you're allowing yourself to feel. So whatever you felt amazing about, you projected it, it appears in your manifestation. Guess what happens? You feel again. And now the feeling is even more intense, because it's no longer just an image inside. It is an actual external experience. So once you have the external part, your emotions and your sacral and your solar is like thanking you. They're like, yes, we did it. You know, it's like a home run. Like, oh, the work was so worth it. We felt, we focused, and now we're experiencing the thing, right? And the feelings are conjured up. Your sacral and your solar are like powering off, and guess what happens? It feeds more fuel to the focal point that continuously projects more of what it is that you want. So once you get that wheel going of feeling, projecting, experiencing, feeling, projecting, experiencing, feeling, projecting, experiencing, right? That cycle is what it's literally like a wheel just turning. So when you're turning the old school projectors, you're turning, right? The more fluid and the quicker you're turning, right? Or the smoother the turn, the smoother the screen is, the smoother the images are on the screen. The movie is running smoothly. So you don't ever want to stop that flow once you get it going. So today is a perfect day to, Monday, subconscious day is always a great day to reset your projector if needed, to reset your emotions and projector. And as we spoke about earlier, go to which one kicks it off first. Image first and then feeling, feeling first and then image, which one, right? So you do it, you bring them together, and then you start the wheel. Then you start that wheel, then you start that movie. And here's the thing, you let it play out. You let it play out. Just imagine the projector. Wait. I don't know. Hold on for a second. I forgot something. And then you come back and wait. Can I go back a little bit? Wait, hold on. Let me start all over. Wait. What kind of first of all, who wants to watch a movie like that? Who wants to watch a moving image on a screen called life that is just moving maybe 2-3 points, and then it's just like, wait. I want to go back. I don't know. Let me start over. I don't trust. I don't know. Right? And then it's just like, wait, this is kind of whack. This movie is whack. I can't even get through it because it keeps stopping. So if you can think about your projector as something that is ever flowing, and you're enjoying your movie, the ups and the downs, it still continues to go. And knowing that you can always jump in, no matter where you are on the wheel, you can always jump in and adjust something, but still keep it flowing. You don't have to ever really stop. Keep it flowing. Oh, this part of the movie, I think I'm ready for a change here. It's been here for a while. So as I'm turning, let me go into my thought mode, into my third eye, and at least see something else. All right, how do I feel about that? I like that better. Okay. Now we're going to disperse that into the projector, put it into the movie, let it manifest, and let it continuously fuel the vision, the experience, the reality, the life. She says, sounds like a bootleg DVD from back in the day. Oh my goodness, right? The interruptions. We don't want to interrupt our projections. And every now and then we may need to, right? We may need to, and that's okay. But to not to make a habit out of it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you have the ability to stop for a moment, because when you're too hesitant, you ever drive when you're driving, for instance, I learned how to drive in New York. It's the best place to learn how to drive because they're aggressive drivers here. So if you are not sure of yourself when you are driving in New York, then you'll be waiting at some intersection forever because you won't have the confidence to go. And trust and believe, everybody else is taking their shot. They're going. And you're just like, wait. It's like playing double dutch with cars. It's just like, oh, is it clear? Can I go out? Oh, there's another car. I don't know. I'm not confident. And then if you never move, then you're always going to stay at that point in the intersection, right? That has no light. There's no stoplight. All right. So you got to go based on like your senses, those types of intersections. So you do that. But when you choose to move and you get scared because a car is coming, as they should be, because it's flowing traffic, if you stop, you chose to move. That's how quote unquote dangerous it can become to stop your projector in the middle of a manifestation. It's like, okay, cool. If you chose to stay where you are on that intersection, watching all the cars just flow on the highway, because ain't no light, so ain't no cars stopping. You just gotta find a space to get through. If you choose to stay there, that's on you. Actually, hey, you won't get hit, you won't get into an accident, but you just won't go anywhere. Right? That's the worst that can happen with that. You just won't go anywhere, and then you might stop up, you're gonna back up traffic behind you, so you're gonna hear a lot of horns, but you don't have to move, right? But if you choose to move with free-flowing traffic coming, and you see a space and an opportunity to finally, go off, and you get afraid because there's like a car or a truck coming, and you hesitate, and you decide to stop or brake, that's what it can feel like to interrupt your manifestation that is already in motion. So just like what we did in the Women of Netzer group with that manifestation, or that resetting of the dials meditation, and I'll bring that here because it's a great meditation or a great visual, is to set your dials, your GPS system, the inner part that already knows what to do once it receives instruction, and you let it go. So if you chose to press that button and you go, let it go. Let it flow. So as Mayette was doing the meditation from last week on flow, flow comes after the decision. Because the times that we pause and that we stop, that may be a time of when it is that you are making a decision. Okay. But once you make that decision, let it flow. And if you want to change something, know when to insert yourself. Just like that traffic, know when to insert yourself to edit and do whatever it is that you need to do. But you're not necessarily just unmoving in that way. You're still flowing. So it becomes an art once you get that point of projecting, fueling, experiencing, fueling, projecting, experiencing, fueling, projecting it. When you get that, the flow becomes much easier. It becomes much easier. So this is what I'm saying when I'm talking about utilizing your third eye as the projector itself, and just jump starting the way that inner vision flows for you. Also, if you feel that you have blockages of trust within your own visions, ask yourself, because we're talking about masculine, feminine poles, ask yourself, do I not trust my inner masculine, or do I not trust my inner feminine? Do I not trust my logic or my ability to be logical within the situation? Do I not trust my ability within my faith and creation and creativity? Is there anything in my life that reflects that? Do I have issues with the masculine externally in my life and the relationships with masculinity? Do I have relationships with femininity, the feminine people or beings in my life? Do I have issues with those beings that therefore reflect an issue with my own feminine side? So, because when we're talking about the third eye or the pineal gland, it's like it's in the middle of both your masculine and feminine pole. So to not trust what comes from there or what you project from there, it's like choosing to not trust a part of yourself. This part or that part, the left part or the right part. What in this situation am I neglecting to allow into the space of this manifestation due to trust issues? So sometimes your external issues with the masculine or feminine essence, whether it's from past stuff, and all of that, you can address those things on the inside as well, so that you're not necessarily playing that game with your own vision. As I said on the panel, they're the two truths. You go on one side or you go all the way on the other side, both sides are true. One side is not true over lie. And they both give off the same hormone, the same feeling. I think we did a workshop with Omar a while ago, and he talked about the oxytocin and the things that are like fear and excitement give off the same hormone. So if you're in fear of something or if you're excited about something, the body still registers it as that hormone is still excreted. Like that's just what it is. So you can either choose to be fearful or choose to be excited, or you can see it for what it is and know that, hey, I'm in it, you know, I'm experiencing it. So sometimes we have the choices to go either way, and sometimes we have the ability to truly experience all of it without prejudice. And it all depends on the situation, because some situations we want to experience one over the other, and that's okay. But do you know what your center feels like first? Do you know how your projector is set so that you're not necessarily pulled into someone else's projection or reality? Trust, allow, and flow. Yes, trust, allow, and flow. Absolutely. And that's what all of this is. And that basically is a great conclusion, Lena or Lana, is the trust is a secret ingredient. The allowance is the flow. If you want something to hurry up and happen or speed up the time on something, if you're not allowing it to happen, then it's never going to happen. So trust, secret ingredient. Allowance is the actual sequence of timing, right? And the flow is the actual experience on your way there. That's what flow is. Flow is the experience on your way. So it's like if you're driving, if you're on a road trip, you know I love my analogies. If you're on a road trip and it's an 8-hour drive, if you're in a car with like people that you absolutely love, you love their company, the music and the vibe is on, and it's just like one of those road trips where the conversation is amazing, the music is amazing, even the silence is amazing, and it is an amazing trip, right? And you get to the destination and you are like vibrating on a high level because that flow was on point. Take that same trip in the same car, that same distance, with people in the car or a person in the car that you really you feel uncomfortable with them. The vibe is always off. The music is kind of whack. You're fighting over what should be played. You're trying to read a book. They keep talking. Like, no, everyone's tone deaf. No one knows, like, hey, give me my space. I don't want to talk. I want to vibe. Let's have a great conversation. Oh my God, this turned into an argument. Have you? Yeah, that's not flow. That's off frequency. That's out of alignment. So that being out of alignment takes you out of flow. So you get to choose who you get in the car with for this long drive called life, with how you flow and where your vibes are and who matches with those vibes, because that's what sets the tone on how enjoyable your life is going to be or how miserable your life is going to be. How much out of flow are you? You know, so get back in flow. How do we get in flow? Once again, we check back in. We check in with our emotions, how we're feeling. We sync it with the vision that makes us feel this feeling. And then we project it. We let it go. We allow and we flow. And that is the formula right there. So to just put that into practice, how can we put this into practice? By doing it. By today, you know, feel, project, be specific, let go, enjoy the ride. It's really that simple. and allow the proof to show in your reality, and offer gratitude. Give thanks for the proof. Thank you for showing me that this is actually working. It's like on that, in that drive, you see signs that you're almost there. So thank you for the confirmations. Thank you for the refueling of hope. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then you get there, and the projector's moving, and the movie is awesome. And there's highs and lows, there's laughs, and there may be cries, but either way, it's worth it. The journey is worth it. So it's a beautiful thing. So this is how we get our lives like flowing again. Just let it go. Yes, Indigo Twin, thank you for writing it out. Project, allow, and flow. I love that. So on that note, I'm going to stop here. We're still going to get more into this conversation. I may come on tomorrow to actually talk more about the practice, because this is more so a discussion, but talking more so about the practice of resetting and trusting your third eye vision and feelings and senses. So I'll come in for a quick, maybe 30-minute live and share some exercises that can help you get on that path of trusting your vision more. Because again, today was more so discussion, conversation. So tomorrow we'll get more so into the action points and what you can do to get you to feeling back to trusting yourself again. All right, so I'll set the time. I'll post on what that time will be. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, most likely in the morning or the rising, right? But again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I'll see you soon.